31 calories per pound of fat. So there's been a question that I've always had in my head, and a lot of times, thoughts are happening in my head, but I can't articulate them. They all make sense in my head, but sometimes I don't know how to get them out. I've thought a lot in past of how much fat can actually be used per day? Like, is there a certain limiting factor biologically that would how much fat can you process and turn into carbon dioxide and water in a day? That's what fat burning is, right? Fat leaves the body as carbon dioxide and hydrogen, primarily through breathing. How much of that can you do per day? Is there a limit? And turns out the number that I found thus far, which is 31 calories per pound of fat that you have. This is very interesting and very important to help you understand how to stay calm and relaxed during your fat loss, right? That number that I found, okay, which is done through done with qualities, which is, how do you break them down into usable energy, and then how do they leave the body as carbon dioxide, blah, blah, blah. We don't care about that. We just care about, okay, 31 calories out of each pound can be used in a day. That means if a person has 20 pounds of fat times out of each of those pounds, you can use 20 times 31 is 620 calories in a day that you can use from the fat. Let's say you have a bigger deficit, and let's say, then where does that come from? Do you tap into more calories per pound of fat? The answer to that, as far as I can tell now, is no, which also makes sense, because if your deficit is too great, then those extra calories are going to come from other tissues. You're going to use up stored glycogen, right, which is just in the muscles and in the liver. That's carbs stored as glycogen. And if it's beyond that, then you're gonna start going into muscle mass itself. So this is why it's not a great idea to go into severe calorie deficits for too long, because then you start breaking down muscle. But getting back to the main point, 31 calories per pound of fat. Obviously, if you have 50 pounds, if you have 100 pounds, you can so 31, each pound can use 31 calories, right, per day. So 100 pounds of fat on you times 31, right, that is 3,100 calories of fat that you can use in a day. And which also makes sense, because why do people who are much heavier, have way more fat, they have faster fat loss at the beginning? Because you can tap into more fat because you have more tanks of fat, right? Basically, if you look at each pound of fat as like a tank, right? Let's say like a fuel tank. You're only allowed to take out 31 calories per day. So 100 tanks, okay, it's gonna add up. But if you only have 20 tanks or 20 pounds of fat, the max you can take out in a day is 620. What does that mean? Okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit more math. I know it would be better if I had like whatchamacallit, like a whiteboard or whatever, but this will have to do. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories, right? So out of fat, which is 35, out of 3,500 calories, you can only use 31 per day. right? This is very important. I wish I had my little whiteboard here, but when you do that math, you take 3,500 divided by 620 calories per day, you get about 5.8 something. Let's just say 6. That means every 6 days you can use 1 pound of fat. Okay? And if you have 20 of those to lose, and obviously as you get leaner, it's less because you have less tanks. So the fat loss gets a little bit slower. You have to be more precise. But if you say you have 20 pounds and every 6 days you can lose 1 pound, you multiply 6 by 20, gives you 60 days or 8 weeks to lose about 20 pounds. So to me, the math starts to make sense, because I always, like, I just did, okay, a pound a week divided by 7 is about 2 ounces. This comes out to about 2.9 ounces per day. So the number that I've been throwing around for a while, which is you're only losing 2 to 4 ounces of fat every day, which is why it's so easy to get discouraged, because your fluctuations can be 5 to 7 pounds in a day. So anyways, what's my point with all this? Hopefully that math is not very complicated. It's just basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It's not complicated math. Hopefully that math makes sense, because now it should calm you down. You should not be freaked out when your weight's fluctuating every day. You should know that you have a fluctuation range of up to 7 pounds, but your fat loss range, which is the only thing we care about, is 2 to 4 ounces per day, right? So this can be hidden in this fluctuation. You got to stack 2 ounces every day, and it's going to take you 7 days before you even see a pound. But now, even with a pound, that's still going to get hidden in those fluctuations. Another way to look at this, right, is if you look at your weekly numbers, your weekly weigh-ins, right? 7 days, you can have, what's your high for the week? What's your low for the week? Over time, rather than looking at one number, the high and low number, right? That range, the range is what's going to start to go lower and trend lower. You're still going to have this wild fluctuation, but now you're not looking at, okay, one day the scale went up 3 pounds. Oh my God. No. You're looking at all 7 days. What's the high number? What's the low number? Next week, what's the high number? What's the low number? Following week, that's the high number and low number. And that range is going to go down. That's a much better way of looking at this. Yeah, I think this is very useful. My main message with this is stay patient. Understand what's going on, because that understanding gives you more patience. And I like this definition of patience. What is patient? Okay, be patient. What does that mean? Patient, this is from Alex Hormozi. How do you do patience? You go find something else to do in the meantime. Track your weight, you hit your calories, go find something else to do. Track your weight, hit your calories, go find something else to do. Track your weight, hit your calories, go find something else to do. Track your weight, go hit your calories, go find something else to do. We make this so complicated. We make this so complicated. And then as the final note on this is, the only thing that actually matters, the only thing to control, is the daily calories and the daily steps and your lifts. If you are hitting your calories accurately, you will lose fat. That is all. Once again, if you want my help, find me on Instagram, rambeer.singera. No more soft summers. No more soft summers. Hard summers only. Okay. If you want my help, message me on Instagram. If you want to join the Burrito Mafia, and have access to me to, you know, on a daily basis, and, you know, our weekly challenges that we do, message me about that. That's $20 a month. It's a very intimate, it's never gonna be, you know, never gonna have like 10,000 people in group. I want to know everybody and actually work with people and talk to people. So that's that. And coaching is very, I want coaching, you know, coaching can be expensive, but I also want it to be something that's like accessible to most people. So, you know, message me about that. My coaching is generally between $200 and $300 a month. And I don't keep staff, or like somebody else is going to be coaching you. It's just me. You're talking to me every day. So anyways, that's that. See you later.